On today's episode, the wheels literally come off the Cybertruck, the worst Tesla recall yet. Giga Berlin is over 6,000, and Tesla is moving from Delaware to Texas. Elon Musk has long been selling the Cybertruck as a go-anywhere, do-anything, apocalypse survival machine that will kick ass in a Baja off-road race. But what happens when someone actually puts their Tesla to the ultimate test? On February 3rd, the team from Unplugged Performance found out when they took a Cybertruck on the King of Hammers off-road race and literally drove it into the ground. During the race, which is held in Johnson Valley, California, the team's truck managed to shear the rear passenger side steering bolt, causing the vehicle to need some repairs. Now, normally having the wheel nearly fall off is going to be cause for some alarm, but there are a few mitigating factors in this case. First, like many off-road races, the King of Hammers circuit reportedly results in this sort of damage to vehicles quite often, and the bolt itself is a fairly easy fix according to the Unplugged Performance team, who regularly modify their Teslas. Which brings us to the second point. This Cybertruck has been upgraded with aftermarket wheels, tires, fender flares, and sway bar links on the front and rear of the vehicle. That's not to say any of these contributed to the damage, but we can't rule it out either. The last point is actually the biggest. Unplugged Performance were trying to run their Cybertruck ragged here. During conversations about the performance, the Unplugged team mentioned that before the steering bolt broke, they had been hardcore driving their truck for the last 2 days on various courses and had been taking it on various off-road tracks for a solid week before that. The team really wanted to see where the Cybertruck's limits were, and they seem to have found them. However, Unplugged CEO Ben Schaefer had nothing but good things to say about the experience, reporting to news outlet Tesla Roddy that this truck is so capable at doing so many things exceptionally well. I don't know many vehicles that can turn a 215 at Button Willow in Baja mode, then daily drive the kids to school, then go to King of Hammers all with the same hardware and state of tune, all in the same week. And he is right. A wheel basically falling off the Cybertruck while off-roading can sound really bad, but this story had more to it and showed that Tesla's new truck is actually fairly robust when handled by a team that's experienced in off-roading. And yet we are getting new reports that you can wreck the wheels on your Cybertruck just by taking it out for grocery runs. So what is going on here? On January 31st, a user in the Cybertruck Owners Club forums posted about an issue with his newly delivered Cybertruck. The company hadn't included the unique 7-point wheel covers that are an iconic part of the stainless steel truck's look. The new owner was contacted by Tesla shortly afterwards, explaining that the covers wouldn't be delivered as promised due to an issue that they will be investigating and instead would be delivered in March. Well, it didn't take long for Tesla fans to figure out what was going on, because on February 1st, the YouTube channel T-Sportline, which is run by a third-party Tesla accessory company, put out this video analyzing the likely reason for Cybertruck aero covers being held back by the company. We are looking at these 7 points or fingers that make up the signature design of the wheel caps. Notice how they kind of integrate themselves into the tire material. Well, it turns out that even with the slight gap between the caps and the tire's sidewall, whenever the tire hits a bump, it swells just enough to rub up against the cap at those points, causing enough friction to wear the tire unevenly. The points are actually made up of rubber rather than the plastic that makes up the rest of the cap, so it's clear that Tesla had encountered this problem in the development process and had made this change in order to alleviate what was likely a far more aggressive wear pattern. However, the video shows a tire that's only been through a few thousand miles of use, and it looks pretty bad already. So that is a good reason for Tesla to step in and pull these covers before the issue gets any worse, and the company is definitely going to come up with some sort of redesign ASAP, but however long it will actually take is anyone's guess. It's doubtful that newly redesigned caps will be sent out by March, but if the fix is simple, it's a possibility. An actual recall from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration will reportedly affect not just the Cybertruck, but also Model S, X, 3, and Y vehicles. The problem? The font size for the brake park and anti-lock brake system visual warning indicators are a little too small, and will have to be patched to bring them up to at least 3.2 millimeters in size as per regulations. That's right, a full recall notice for a problem that will be fixed with an over-the-air update that amounts to the same thing as when your mobile device gets new patches. It's really quite silly to use such heavy language for something so inconsequential to fix, and in fact, CEO Elon Musk has called for an update to NHTSA terminology for this sort of situation in the past, as critics can make a very big deal about recalls in general and often lump this sort of fix into those stats, regardless of there being very little danger involved. Musk says that the terminology is outdated and inaccurate, which is hard to argue with. For the NHTSA, though, anytime they have to force a company to make changes to their vehicles in this way, they are required to call it a recall. So this isn't them being malicious, it's just awkward that they have to keep doing this for such an easy thing. The current font size could reduce the driver's detection of it when illuminated, increasing the risk of a collision, according to the NHTSA's brief, which is fair enough, and the issue will reportedly be addressed during the next software updates for all the affected vehicles. In a significant milestone for Tesla's European operations, Giga Berlin has recently achieved a production rate of 6,000 Model Y vehicles per week. This particular Gigafactory has been pretty quiet since operations began in March of 2022. We sometimes forget that it even exists, but the team there has been steadily working their way up to full volume production of the world's most popular car, the Tesla Model Y. In a LinkedIn post from Tesla Director of Quality Bob Folks, he noted that Giga Berlin has delivered over 200,000 vehicles in its first 2 years of operation, and with projections for over 300,000 deliveries in this year alone, he says that Giga Berlin is just getting started. We are expecting to see production from Tesla's German factory ramp up to 500,000 Model Ys at full volume production, and eventually start producing their own battery cells at an on-site manufacturing plant. Now, that's not to say 2024 will be an easy year for Tesla in Europe. Giga Berlin's Model Y production is currently paused until February 11th due to supply chain issues arising from the conflicts in the Red Sea. In a response to Delaware courts rescinding Tesla CEO Elon Musk's pay package in late January, it appears as though Tesla is taking its cars and going home to Texas. Following the case, Musk immediately took to social media and began posting about moving Tesla's incorporation filings from Delaware to Texas, making typically harsh statements that made it clear he was not pleased with the ruling. The decision came after almost a year in this legal dispute with Tesla shareholder Richard Tornetta, who claimed that Musk's executive pay package, which was put in place back in 2018 and now was valued at $55.8 billion, was too excessive and would have been put to better use as value for the shareholders themselves. Obviously, the judge Kathleen McCormick ended up agreeing with Mr. Tornetta, saying that the amount of compensation that Musk was due as a result of this package was, quote, the largest potential compensation opportunity ever observed in public markets by multiple orders of magnitude, end quote. Now, we are not going to pretend that we know better than a judge in a state known for being very friendly to corporations, but there are some parts of this issue that don't seem so clear. For instance, when the plan was implemented, it was valued at $2.6 billion, and shareholders at the time agreed that Musk would only get the package if certain goals, called tranches, in these sort of documents were met by the end of the next decade. These milestones include things like raising the company's market cap value by $50 billion, and he has reportedly hit all of the 12 tranches he needed to in order to receive his payment package, all while receiving no salary from Tesla itself. And that sort of high-risk, high-reward plan has paid off for Musk, with the exception of this lost court case. It's no wonder he's mad, really. Compensation packages like this one don't even offer actual money either, the compensation in this case being market share and the option to buy more at a reduced cost. This is the transfer of assets, not actual money changing hands. So again, even though we are not legal experts, it certainly seems like the ruling in this case is conflating Musk getting $55 billion with $55 billion in value as it relates to the car company he spent the last decade or so building up. His package is only worth that amount of money at all because the company is worth far more, meaning Tesla shareholders have also seen their value grow. Tesla is now readying to hold a vote with the shareholders about reincorporating in Texas, where the company's physical headquarters already stands. And this might be a decision made in anger on Musk's part, but it's hard to blame him here. They'll lose out on some of the benefits that come with being incorporated in Delaware, namely the corporate-friendly environment and tax benefits, but if the courts there aren't friendly enough to let Musk keep his compensation package anyhow, it makes sense that he wouldn't want to keep his company there.